Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Marvel Rewind. 2 episodes of She-Hulk in one glorious Apocalypse episodes. My name is Brian. I'm here with Jake, and we are here to talk about episodes 6 and 7 of She-Hulk. But before we get started, Mr. Berlin, how are you doing now that StreamYard...
That intro was supposed to be absolute perfection, Brian, because it was your second time doing it.
It was. Well, I'm just glad that the play button or go live button worked.
StreamYard hit a hiccup there for his little speed bump. It was just
you.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, me, what did I do wrong?
Maybe you just didn't click the button on accident. Things happen.
That's definitely not the case, but that's okay. I'm doing fine. It's a Thursday. One more day until work is over, and then it's the weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the work week being over finally. So.
Well, yeah, because you're going on a little vacation again.
I wouldn't really call it a vacation. So.
Are you playing golf? You're playing golf.
Yeah, but it's not like I'm not going to get into it, but I wouldn't really call it a vacation personally. I'm sure people on the outside would definitely call it a vacation, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited for it, but it's going to be a very long weekend that at this point in time and where I'm at currently, I want a weekend away from people. So it's just kind of coming at the wrong time. So
fair enough. Andy, what am I wrong about? I was actually dead right about this episode. So if that's what you're referring to, check the tape, my good sir. But
technically, I was right. We saw Daredevil's helmet in episode 5, so I don't know what Andy's talking about.
We both picked episode 5, and I said that the Matador guy was going to be in this episode, and I was right. Daredevil is coming next week, folks, because they're not saving him for the finale because that would upstage everything. But that's not here nor there. So let's just dive straight into episode 6. The episode that was 2 weeks ago. We saw Jen / She-Hulk attending her friend's wedding. I use friends in air quotes. That was a poopy friend. No. Andy, check the tape.
We said episode 5.
We said 5, yeah.
And we saw Helmet in 5, so technically we saw Daredevil.
So
Andy, you're wrong.
I don't know.
I might have said this week, but I mean, I've pretty much given up predicting this show. And I don't mean to cut you off, Brian, but just real quick, I saw, and I'm not taking credit for this because I saw this on social media. Someone was talking. Actually, I want to pull it up real quick because I want to make sure I got it correctly. I cannot agree more with what this person said about She-Hulk. This was earlier today. Where'd it go? Oh my god. This is terrible radio. She-Hulk is not a narratively driven show. It is not driven by narrative. It is driven solely by characters. That is it. They don't care what's happening around them, what type of story they're going to put them in. They are building the character of Jennifer Walters and those around her, which is why I think a lot of people are turned off by it because each episode is its own little story. It's its own little 30-minute story. But I think if more people looked at it in that light of it's more about her than it is what she's going through, then I think people would enjoy this a little bit more than they actually are. Because I do think, Brian, and we obviously feel different, but I do think that for the first time in the Disney Plus era, the majority of people probably don't like this show, whereas the minority of people like it. I think the roles have reversed from usually it's the majority love it or like it, and the minority don't. I think it's a little different here. I actually think the majority of people probably don't like this show.
Yeah, I agree. I think people are not as into it probably as the other stuff. It definitely seems to be a bit more of a niche market. People that love Marvel just for Marvel probably don't really care. I would say that's probably more you or me. Like, they would have to put something out that is inherently bad for us to like really complain about it. At the end of the day, I'm getting comic book characters on my TV screen. So like, I'm not gonna really complain if it's not in the exact style that I wanted. I think you're probably kind of the same way too. I mean, it's going to take a lot more than just not an action show for me to hate it. I think. Would you say?
Yeah, I think everyone kind of, and we're kind of just like saying the same thing over and over again because we are 7 episodes in now, and if you don't get the show to this point, just stop watching. Like there's no point in continuing if you're not understanding it. I think people just need to have a little bit different perspective. Like you can't expect the Falcon and the Winter Soldier or the WandaVisions or the Ant-Mans or anything like that, because that's not what this is. We've talked about it plenty of times. It's a 30-minute sitcom style show where each episode has a beginning and an end. They bleed into one another, just like sitcoms do sometimes, but they really do have a definitive start and finish to each episode. It's one complete story. And this week's episode 7, The Retreat, is a perfect example of that. It had a start and a finish about what was happening and kind of how it dived into the character of Jennifer Walters with The Retreat, with Emil Blonsky and everything that was going on there. But then it drove the narrative part of it, the main portion of what She-Hulk is going to be about, forward just a little bit. I will say not every episode has done that, and I think every episode kind of did need to do that personally. But I'm really, really happy with this week's episode compared to last week's.
I agree.
Even though last week's is now that much more important because of what happened this week.
Episode 6 had a lot of, if you caught it, like important story plot points.
Well, ultimately the only thing that mattered that came out of that was Josh. There's a couple things. His name is Josh, right? That's his name. It's Josh.
The nerd,
the boyfriend, the guy. It's Josh, right?
Yeah, no, it's Josh.
It's Josh.
I would argue that there's 2 things that came out of
Well, I was going to say the main, like out of the 2 or 3 or whatever, the biggest one was him, obviously because of what happened at the end of this episode, the reveal of him, and spoiler alert, him getting a sample of her blood.
Yeah.
What a whore bag, sleeping with her for her blood.
Yeah.
Absolute whore bag.
I would say.
And Andy, you're 100% right. They definitely are a 2-parter. They are. I agree.
Yeah. I would also piggyback on what you were saying with the importance of the intelligentsia in episode 6. I think that is something that you could see in other things showing up.
For sure.
Yeah,
I think it'll be much more of a ground level character thing they deal with, like the Daredevils, like the She-Hulks, like the Jessica Jones, etc. I don't know if we'll see it at a like multiverse saga level.
Yeah, well, I mean, it actually, I saw on Twitter, I'm not taking credit for this because I sure as hell didn't notice it. That, I mean, the intelligentsia has been here since Black Panther. It was on Claw's.
Someone's screen. Oh, I saw that screenshot. Yeah. I saw that.
On Claw, former member of the intelligentsia.
Yeah. I saw
on
that.
Claw's bio.
Profile.
I was going to profile. I was going to say resume. I knew that was obviously wrong.
Profile.
I think that could be something that could maybe pop up in certain things. I think personally that might pop up in Captain America, New World
I
Order.
mean, that and Thunderbolts are the two spots that you could see it pop up. Those are the two options that we see right now, in my opinion, that's where it can pop up at.
I very much think that,
or maybe Armor Wars too.
Yeah.
Secret Invasion, I guess. So those four, I would say.
Anything that's like spy.
Let me just. I'll add to it. Anything that's Marvel. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Anything like maybe like spy, espionage, or like would have like tracking information, like that types of thing. Because he didn't just steal her blood. He copied her phone.
Oh, yeah, he took all kinds of information.
Yeah, data not wiped, but copied her phone.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean,
he cloned. That's the word you're looking for.
Copied, but
clone's a better word.
I think that they might be like a technological threat, kind of, in the future, in some type of capacity. For maybe, I could very much see like in Civil War, Captain America, New World Order, like them actually being, Gordon, I was literally about to get to that.
I was going to bring that up once you were done. It just makes sense. It totally makes sense. Where
it's being led by the leader and just being, I mean, in the comics, it was MODOK, which MODOK's is going to be in the quantum realm, so I doubt he's going to be attached to it. But like,
well, we've already seen Samuel Stearns basically operate on the black web, the dark web.
Yeah, I very much could see this just being like a cyber threat type of situation. I mean, what's more scary than like you not being in control of all of your stuff? That, I mean, everything we use technology wise, and all of a sudden someone like the leader, for example, is in charge of all that. So I think that could be a potential threat that you might see in a movie, possibly that one. Although I could also see her nerdy date Todd being a part of it too.
Oh, I saw that theory too, because he was asking certain questions.
Yeah. I
saw that.
For right now, if I had to put money down, I think Hulk King is Todd, but then probably is doing
working for the leader. I don't think we'll see the leader.
Personally. I don't either. Yeah, you said last week you thought we did.
I changed my mind now.
Okay.
It changes on week to week when you see things. I don't think we're going to see him. I think we're going to see someone who works for him.
I think Todd will be the liaison to that, probably. I mean, other than that, there wasn't really crazy things happening in episode 6. Titania obviously showed up to just mess with her. We got another, I don't even want to say like fight scene, because it was very quick again. Their fight scenes have been very brief, which kind of is a bummer to me. I actually would like to see them.
Yeah, and I think it's the one thing about the show that I'm kind of, I don't want to say disappointed, because that's not the right word, but maybe just bummed about, is that we haven't really seen her in action. You know, like we haven't really seen her do a whole lot. Like this show started off great with episode 1 where we did the retreat with Hulk and they were doing things, and then they got in that fight, and I was like, oh, this show is going to be a banger. I love it. I'm excited. I can't wait to see her do things. And then since then, you know, and I don't get me wrong, I really enjoy the show. I do. Yeah. I think Tatiana Maslany is great. I think a lot of the moments with some of their characters are great, but I do think that they've dropped the ball on the two biggest things that the show had going for it. And it's 1, putting her in action, and 2, seeing her actually be a lawyer. We haven't really seen her inside a courtroom, like talking to a jury. We saw her in the cell with Blonsky, right? That was inside a prison. We've seen her in her office. We've seen her at the bar that they go to. But we haven't actually seen her sit down at a table inside a courtroom, talk in front of a judge, or try to convince a jury like I expect a lawyer to do. Like, and it's wrong of me to compare, but it's the only comparison I have right now. Do you remember how incredible those courtroom scenes were in Daredevil? How they took their time showing Matt Murdock or Foggy or Karen at sometimes talk in front of the judge, whether it be struggling, doing well, trying to convince the jury, or even just like seeing Matt operate how he would hear heartbeats or like try to win by doing like picking his poison essentially. I'm not saying the show has to do that, but
if you're going to use attorney at law as the subtitle,
exactly, the subtitle of the show is called Attorney at Law. I expect courtroom drama.
Yeah.
And not even courtroom drama. Like I expect courtroom scenes. And again, I really enjoy the show. But I think it was a huge missed opportunity to not put her in the show or in the courtroom when in the second episode she is literally given the keys to the superhero law division kingdom.
Yeah.
And we haven't really seen that. Like we haven't.
I mean, one of her cases wasn't even done by her. It was done by the
exactly.
coworker. So, I mean, to what Curtis said, Madison's episode had some courtroom scenes. What? That was episode what? 3? 4?
4 or 5. One or the other.
No,
it was
5 was her getting her clothes.
Then it was 4.
Okay.
Because it was her and Wong. It was 4.
Yeah. So we're at 7. So she hasn't been in a courtroom since 7. Or since 4.
And I just want to clarify, like, I'm trying to not, I don't want to compare, I'm trying not to compare Daredevil to She-Hulk. It's the only comparison I can make of like a show with a superhero character being put inside a courtroom. And what Brian said of like, the show is called Attorney at Law. So like, I just expected a little bit more of the law portion. And maybe that just means like her in her office trying to figure it out. But even at that point, we honestly haven't seen that much of it. Like, there's been some here and there, but she's been taken away to do other things a lot. Like this episode, she was at, and there's nothing wrong. Like, I enjoyed the episode, but she got taken away to her retreat. No law stuff whatsoever. And I'm trying to not bag on the show. I don't want it sounding that way because I enjoy it. Yeah. But I'm just trying to say that, like, I think the two biggest, actually, I'll say this. The biggest thing it had going for it was that courtroom stuff. And I don't feel like they have capitalized on that opportunity as much as they could have.
No, I don't disagree with you. I mean, the way when Feige would say things like, she's a full-blown lawyer, blah, 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 blah. Like, I definitely went into it the way I perceived it as was like, you're going to get a different rando each episode. And like, she was going to be the lawyer of that rando. And that would be the show, essentially. I
mean, put it this way. The biggest episode that we saw courtroom drama is she was on trial. She wasn't even the lawyer. Like her against Titania.
That's fair.
That episode had the most courtroom scenes we've had all season in an episode, and she wasn't even doing the lawyering. Of course, she figured out things and helped, but she wasn't the actual one talking in front of the jury, the judge, etc. And again, like, I enjoy the show. I do. Yeah. I really like the show, but I don't know. Like, remember when it was originally just called She-Hulk and then they added the subtitle? Yeah. I wish it was just called She-Hulk. Like, I wish it was just called She-Hulk because then I wouldn't have had the expectations of them pushing the courtroom stuff or the lawyer stuff as the title flows through the episode every week.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I could be wrong, but I don't really see much courtroom in.
There's not going to be a lot the rest of the season.
The only thing I could possibly think of is like the Frogman guy is.
I do hope we see Murdoch. Like I would love to see maybe we do get a scene with Jennifer and Murdoch or them going against each other or something. I think that would be great. But
So-
yeah, I did.
No,
Go ahead. No,
I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna say. So what I was gonna say was, I think I could see maybe like Frogman being the villain. They both have to chase them down, and then end up. One of them ends up being in court for Frogman.
It would be her because it's not Matt's jurisdiction.
Yeah. So
Maybe Matt's helping on the side, but it's Jennifer who's actually going in front of the judge.
Yeah. So I mean, outside of that, I don't really see.
Like he would be a consultant or something.
Yeah, I don't see the courtroom being used much more outside of maybe.
It's not. It's definitely not going to be in the finale. I can tell you that much.
No,
It's definitely not going to be a part of the finale whatsoever.
I would imagine. So this is what I
hope I'm wrong. I really do. Like I hope I'm flat out wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much. I think last week I said, or whatever it was, maybe it was on Pockflix or something. 7 will be the Matador guy, which it was. 8 will probably be Daredevil, and 9 will be whatever ends with Titania. Because you're not going to just leave it like she, for all intents and purposes, was her villain this episode or this season.
Well, from what we were led to believe.
Yeah, but I meant like what as far as
okay, let me ask you this.
Antagonist, we'll say.
Do you think Titania is going to be a part of like the leader stuff?
No, I don't think. I doubt you'll probably see Titania past this season, which would suck because Titania is actually kind of a pretty cool character in comics.
I mean, Marvel has brought back wackadoos before.
I know, but it's just as far as like things we know about coming forward. I mean, unless she changes like from being an influencer, like what?
Honestly, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really care to see her the rest of the season. I don't. I think, and I didn't have any prior experience with Titania, but in talking with you and kind of hearing that she was a big antagonist for the character, I was 100% expecting
in Secret Wars. That's why one of the main reasons I got excited.
I was definitely expecting a little bit more from her, but I think that again, it was just kind of misunderstanding what our expectations should have been with certain things of the show. I honestly don't. I don't care to see her the rest of the season, and it's not that I didn't like the character, but I think at this moment in time, she served her purpose. Like she's bombarded Jen twice already, and both times it ended on her side, and then 2, Jen basically won last week. It's just like this it's like this weird kind of like Mean Girls high school rivalry that they have going on, and I don't know if I need to see it again. Like, I think I want to move on to what is the important things. Like, I hope the ending of this episode, where we see Josh text some weird ass emojis to Hulk King, which whatever, being a little creeper, taking a picture, being a little creeper, just like a weirdo. Like, Jen, wake up on a flash. Like, I think I'd wake up with a flash.
I don't understand how he got her blood.
I mean, maybe he was just that good in bed that it knocked her out. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Anyway, like, I think that's at a point where we need to suspend our belief a little bit and just roll with it. Either way, I hope the ending of this episode pushes us forward with that narrative alone. I don't need any side stories now. I want whatever's happening to connect. We have 2 episodes left, and that's only 40 minutes of television in She-Hulk universe. Because they've been on average about 20-ish minutes, 22-ish, around there. I want everything going forward to be connected to the main plot. And because I mean it's been 9 episodes. It would be a 9-episode season with, when it comes down to it, like just over an episode that's the central plot line of what She-Hulk is all about. You know, like, and again, I like the show. I don't want to be a nagging like hater on it. I'm not trying to be. I think the show can be so good at doing things, but it's not like, it's just not doing it. Like I'm waiting for it to like pull a punch, and it's not pulling the punches that I want, you know?
Yeah. I think also for a lot of people, I think it might have backfired on them showing Daredevil. I
think they needed to get people excited.
They might have, but like,
and also that would have not stayed a secret, Brian. There's no effing way that would have stayed a secret.
Probably not, but like, I think the biggest fault of people watching the show that aren't enjoying it is it became, did Daredevil show up this week? No, don't care. Like it, like,
well, I mean, Andy's first comment tonight. How's it feel to be wrong, fellas? Directly at Daredevil. That's 2 days in a row he's told us that we're wrong on everything, by the way.
Well, he was wrong on this one.
And he told me I was wrong twice yesterday because I did 2 streams.
Probably. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not like you've said, in no way are we not liking the show.
We just want it to be the best it can possibly be.
Yeah, and I'm sure the last 2 episodes are definitely going to be some pretty solid episodes. Like I said, I didn't mind episode 7. Actually, I thought it was.
I liked it.
I think it might have been one of the better, if not top.
You know why?
3.
Because it drove the character of Jennifer Walters forward. It didn't keep her in a stagnant position. There was an actual purpose to what was happening.
Yeah.
Like from the beginning of the episode to the end, it's a different Jennifer Walters on where her mindset is, where she is at emotionally, where she's kind of driving herself forward. It's different from the start to the finish. And that, I think that's why the episode is good, is because there's a full timeline of events that take her to where she ends up in the final moments of that episode.
So I think this show probably does a little bit, not to the extent, but I am not a person that likes, go ahead, start hating. I don't like The Office. I don't think it's funny.
Neither do I.
I
don't like The Office, Parks and Rec, Community, none of it.
I've never tried the other one, so I wouldn't know. But it's just not like, I don't get it. It seems to me like every episode is just kind of like a randomness, which is kind of what this is, almost in a way. Like you have like an underlining story going on. Most of its randomness. The last 2 gave me more like of a structure. 7 being a lot more structure. Like there was definitely stuff that was happening, propelling a storyline. Like literally, like every plot point had, like there was storyline to this. I mean,
have you ever watched any 30-minute sitcom, Brian? Like anything?
Oh, I'm sure. You're putting me on the spot, so I'm obviously gonna blank.
Well, I mean, okay, so like Friends, Seinfeld, New Girl, How I Met Your Mother, How I Met Your Father, like any of those types.
It's funny because
Big Bang Theory.
I actually haven't really, because I don't find them interesting.
So okay, how about this? Boy Meets World.
I mean, yeah, but I was very
okay. So those shows, and this is bleeding off of what you're talking about. That's why I brought it up. Those shows, there's to what's happening, the points of those episodes, there's always a start and finish. The characters, like, okay, so I'm going to use New Girl, for example, because I'm watching it. It's probably one of my all-time favorite sitcoms. I love the show so much. There's an episode that deals with a character named Schmidt And
I know New Girl's probably out of all the names you've listed, that's probably the only one.
So like every episode is there's a start and a finish with the characters. The characters go through a journey every single episode, but sometimes those journeys or some of the moments in those journeys overlap into other things. And then that's what She-Hulk is doing. She-Hulk is telling stories in single episodes, but overlapping the main plot point of the 9. At times, not every episode has like a connection to what's happening. But the last 2 specifically, obviously the meeting of Josh, and then the beginning of this episode of them kind of dating and hanging out, him going MIA. The plot line of this show was her emotionally getting to a spot at the retreat, but the overall plot line is what's happening with Josh, him disappearing, and then learning that he took her blood. That's what a 30-minute sitcom does, and they're playing that. WandaVision. WandaVision is a great example too. That's exactly what those did as well.
Yeah. WandaVision
connected a lot more than this, though.
Yeah,
it connected a lot more than this.
Each one was propelling a major
each episode of WandaVision was a puzzle piece to the 9 episodes.
Yeah.
This one is like, so far we've gotten 7. I feel like maybe 4 of them connect to the overall puzzle.
Like the way I would
Such a weird analogy, but whatever.
No, here's my analogy. You can have yours and I'll have mine. My analogy is WandaVision was very much a straight line to the end. This one is doing like this. Woo! Yeah. And you're eventually going to get to the end. It's not going to be a straight shot. It's like, let's go this way, and we'll go back this way. And okay, now we're at the end.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what I get if you're comparing the two. It's very much like
this show. Now that I'm like, we've watched this one and we've seen WandaVision, this one is much, much, much more of a 30-second or 30-minute sitcom than WandaVision was. WandaVision played homage to the 30-minute sitcoms by theming each episode. But there was the plot of that show. There was never a question in my mind what was happening, because every episode was the same plot line. It was just extended through 9 episodes.
Yeah.
This one, there's different stories in each episode that feels like a 30-minute sitcom much more than WandaVision did.
Yeah.
And again, it's not a bad thing. I don't want this sounding like we're just destroying the show, because we're not.
This might have been maybe my second favorite episode. I actually really enjoyed this episode.
I mean, honestly, I really enjoyed it too. I thought Blonsky was really funny. Having Mr. Wrecker come back was interesting. Porcupine might be my favorite character.
When she broke the fourth wall and was like,
previously
remember who this is, blah blah. I literally was going, when he came out and their faces went like that, and like it was a whole thing. I went, oh shit, who is that? Like, I literally forgot who it was. And then she goes, you probably forgot who this is. And I was like, oh my God, this is perfect. Because I literally don't remember who this is. And they explained it. And I was like, great.
I'm surprised. He's Wrecker. Did you see that his name was Wrecker in the subtitle or the caption? His name was actually Wrecker.
Oh, well, perfect. It was funny because I literally wake up and immediately throw this thing on. So like, I'm half awake when I'm watching these episodes.
Yeah.
So like, at that time, I had no idea who this guy is. And so like her literally them breaking the fourth wall and doing that, I was like, perfect, because this is exactly what I'm thinking in my head right now. So, yeah, no, actually, like I said, this episode I really liked. Like, it might be my second favorite episode.
Question from Harrison here: did we actually see him take the blood,
No,
or did I miss that part? I only saw the text messages, as I recall. Yes, you are correct, but I think it's implied that he 100% got the blood because that dude went MIA the second that happened.
I saw someone say she had a bloody nose, or there was an emoji of a nose implying she got a bloody nose. And I was like, I didn't catch it because I don't understand how he got the blood.
Either way, he got the blood. I don't think we need to worry about it. He got the blood. Plain and simple.
I don't really
He got it.
want to know.
I don't want to know because there's ways that I don't want to know how he got blood. You know, he stuck a needle on a girl that was passed out. I mean, that's just.
I would imagine she would wake up for that. If it's a bloody nose,
Maybe she's a super hard sleeper, man. You never know.
She
looked like a hard sleeper.
She did look like a hard sleeper.
That girl didn't wake up with a flash in her face. Like, come on now.
Yeah. No, Harrison, I was wondering the exact same thing. I was like, he got her blood? How? Do I want to know how? Like, it was
all we need to know is that it happened. They have it. And I imagine now once she finds out, it's gonna all be about her trying to get it back. So, which reminds me of I think it's Superman. No, what is that? That someone steals blood and they have to get it back. I can't think of it right now. I'll think of it while we're talking.
I have no idea.
You can keep going, Brian. I'll think of it.
I mean, I don't know what more you want to keep talking about. I mean, yeah.
Oh, it's Smallville. That's what it is.
I figured that's where you were going.
It was Smallville. There was an episode in Smallville where Clark's blood got taken because he had some red kryptonite around him, and it weakened him.
I've seen that episode. It's one of the early ones.
It weakened him, and Lex's girlfriend had the blood at the hospital. She was a doctor. And Jonathan Kent had to be like, doctor, I need your discretion, but I need that blood back. Yeah, that's where it was from. So yeah, anyway, move along.
Okay. I mean,
it's the Jake tangents. Come on.
No, that's fine. I mean, is there much more you want to talk about as far as?
I thought the characters were pretty funny. It plays to the vibe of the show, the sitcom style. I think. Again, I say this every single week, but Tatiana Maslany is just so perfect as this role. I think she brings so much to the role. Her like facial expressions and her body language plays very, very well with the vibe they've given Jennifer Walters so far. I'm very intrigued on where it's headed, and I also would like to know which movie Jennifer and Josh were watching at the drive-in. So,
interesting.
Yeah. Did they go see a rom-com? Did they see an action-packed movie? Did they see a foreign film? And why was there no popcorn involved?
You're out of popcorn.
Interesting. John Booz and Gordon. There was like 10 different versions of Kryptonite in that show, so it can be any color it wants to be. But I'm pretty sure it was red.
Red made him weak.
No, red changed him.
Oh.
Red changed his personality into like a bad boy. It was interesting. The way they did the colors of Kryptonites in Smallville was a super interesting touch on Superman. But I don't know. It's been so long. Whatever color it was, it's one or the other. Something. Maybe it was white, gold, or maybe it was just no. It was just regular Kryptonite. It was green. Duh. My Superman lore. Obviously, Jake. It freaking weakens him. It turns him human, essentially. I'm a moron. Anyway, move along.
I only watched the first 2 seasons.
Move along.
I'm pretty sure this episode happened in the first 2.
Brian, I think that's a great addition to the A Certain Point of View Patreon is Smallville reactions for you. Watching.
It's a lot of reactions.
It is. But think of how long we can make that happen.
And no one else would care.
You don't know that. You have no idea.
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty. Maybe Billy. Billy might be.
I bet you Curtis would watch it. I bet you Andy would watch it, even though he's probably never watched Smallville.
If he's watching Smallville, he's probably sitting there like, "How dare you? How dare you claim that?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there much? I mean, we can talk about the 2 remaining episodes. What you think is happening?
I mean, I don't know if I know exactly what's happening, but I think, like I said earlier, I hope we get into the thick of it. I hope we kind of get into like the plot line of her blood being taken. I don't want it to be a thing where, okay, and a perfect example was the Daredevil thing. Oh, you didn't like Smallville, Andy. Oh, that's a bummer. The Daredevil thing, right? They showed the helmet in the post-credit scene, and then we just didn't see him for the next 2 episodes. Like that kind of bothers me a little bit. Like if you're going to show it in the post-credit scene, I want it to happen the next episode, you know? So I hope that the blood drawn doesn't go like not like unmentioned for the next however long. I hope that it's a part of the next episode. But obviously it's going to be like Daredevil's going to show up and that's going to twist some things up. So I don't like when shows, and the best and current example I can use is the Daredevil thing. They showed the helmet. I'm like, next episode we're getting our boy, and it's been 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, it does bother me. I get why they do it, but it does bother me a little bit. So,
I just want Frogman because I feel like it's just gonna be the stupidest thing, but in the best possible way. Like,
oh, and I'm sorry, Brian. I'm so sorry.
What?
That was thinking out loud. Andy just commented something brilliant. Brilliant. Going back to that site. Maybe that's why the picture was taken. There's a She-Hulk hate page. There is a She-Hulk hate page, and that picture can be uploaded. Cyberbullying.
I mean,
what is it called? What, by the way, the site?
Intelligentsia.
Intelligentsia. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
because in the previously on, they showed the lawyer and her assistant basically saying, "Don't tell Jen, let her live her life."
Yeah,
there's a reason they showed that scene.
Yeah,
and they didn't touch Intelligentsia this episode. So yeah, I think you're on point there, my guy.
I mean, yeah, it could be one of two things. One, my immediate thought was like, you confirm a kill, you know, like in a spy movie, like I killed the person, here's proof. Or that could be exactly what Andy said, which is
I'm all on board for that. I'm all on board for that.
Yeah. I mean, it could be very much
it's gonna be karma, Andy, 100%.
that you're not even anywhere near close. Yeah.
Watch it not even be mentioned at all.
Yeah.
Like it just goes unmentioned while he took a random photo.
I tend to think that it's just like a confirm kill thing. Like, here's my proof that it's her blood type situation.
Interesting.
But I mean, it makes sense. Like, look at, she's a hoe, like or something like that. I mean,
she'd be sleeping around.
Which I could. I mean, if from what they showed, like it's the people that absolutely hate her find any reason to trash her. Hey, look at, she's sleeping around and she's She-Hulk and she's trying to be famous and sleep with it. Like, I could absolutely see that the website like doing that type of stuff.
Okay, last thing before we wrap up, because I wanted to mention this and I forgot. So thank you, Gordon, for this. I have some ifs about this girl. I don't know if Mallory is a good person. And there's one reason why. The actress, to me anyway, I know that she's pretty well unknown to a lot of people. She's a very good and popular actress with some other big TV shows. She's been in a lot. And it would just feel odd for them to get her for only the role that they've given her so far. I feel like she's a bad person.
If they did, they'd have to give her a whole arc in 2 episodes.
Not necessarily. They can just they can have a moment where she like turns her back against them and like kind of does something shady and like stabs them in the back. And that's all that needs to be explained. Like, I've been with the leader this whole time, and boom, there you go.
Yeah, but if she's as big as she says she is, that's kind of a waste of an actress.
And I also, well, maybe it's set up for something down the road. Like maybe she's someone secretly. And that also leads me to believe that the other dude that works in the lawyer system is bad. But that's just because I know him as a villain, Prometheus from Arrow.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we all immediately thought he was the bad guy. I mean, that's pretty safe to say.
I mean, he seems like a super hard superhero fan, but I just can't. It's hard for me to believe the dude is good because the guy made some crazy kills on his run in Arrow. So
no, absolutely. I'm just waiting for Frogman. Honestly,
you've been waiting 8 episodes for Frogman.
I know, it's because he's so ridiculous. He's so ridiculous, and I hope that they make him just as ridiculous. Like, I'm literally looking at the bio right now. He's an aspiring hero and the son of former supervillain Leapfrog. His power derives from electric coils in his boots that give him the ability to leap great distances. He petitioned to join the Defenders, Avengers, and become Peter Parker's assistant and got denied every time. It's just like, that is perfect for this show. Like, perfect for him to just be like this wannabe douche and just like him to get crapped on by She-Hulk. Like I'm hoping that's what we see, because I will be laughing the entire time. But I mean, who knows? I have a feeling he might be in this next episode with Daredevil, and they might be like chasing him down or something. I don't know, but
I mean, I hope it seems like we're gonna see her in her super suit next episode. So
yeah. So that's right. That's right. We haven't even seen the super suit yet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Oh boy. So exciting.
I mean, we hope anyway. What if it's like the ultimate tease and they don't ever actually show Daredevil?
Yeah. That scene wasn't actually in the show.
That was just for the trailers. That was from Daredevil Reborn.
We did it just to make you guys watch it. Never gonna happen.
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, that is gonna do it for us.
As we get our highest live viewers.
I know it happens every time. But thank you for joining us. That was episode 6 and 7. But don't worry, we still have episode 8 and 9 left. Who knows? Maybe a devil from Hell's Kitchen shows up next week. You never know. You never know. But
bring my boy.
Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and we'll catch you guys next time.